It should come as no surprise to my friends and viewers that trading card games have always had a very special place in my heart. In this series, both Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. Every week we will add an additional core set to our collections, moving in chronological order. We will use these cards to create a deck and then face off against one another in a best 2 out of 3 match, with the winner receiving 2 prizes to upgrade their deck, while the loser receives 1. These prizes can range from wild cards, to sealed product, to starter decks, and more. Every card that has been released will be available to us at least once. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to banish into the Shadow Realm, and even the way the very rules of the game will change, will keep our decks and our duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series.
Alright, so that was a good win last week. Unfortunately, Chain Strike did not get its appearance, but oh well. But now we're on to the next one, which is Strike of Neos, which came out in February 2007. This set is a marked improvement over Cyber Dark Impact, and it also introduces quite a lot of really good cards. For one, it introduces one of my favorite archetypes, the Six Samurai, which are a group of monsters that have special effects that happen whenever they have more than one of the archetype on the field. This is their first form, and while they're definitely not as strong as they can be later down the road, this is still a fairly significant archetype to pay attention to. We also have some Dark World support, which is pretty nice as well. For example, we have Grand Tactician of Dark World. If it's discarded, you get to act as a MST, which is kind of nice. And we also have Khaki here, which it lets you basically target a monster and destroy it. So each of these are actually pretty nice to take note of. Scrolling through down a little more, we also have a lot of normal monster support. We have Lycanthrope, which is a ritual monster that deals damage based on the number of normal monsters in your graveyard, as well as Advanced Ritual Art, which lets you search out normal monsters to discard in order to ritual summon a ritual monster, which is pretty nice. There's actually a couple of combos you can make use of for this later on. Scrolling down the rest of the list here, we have some more Six Samurai support to go with this, which is kind of nice, but overall, honestly, the comments here are actually pretty good in general. Scrolling up here into the rares, we actually see quite a few really good ones as well. Frostosaurus is actually a pretty decent 1 tribute monster for 2600 attack points. And for a normal monster to have that kind of attack power with just 1 tribute and no downside is pretty nice. We also have Neospatian Grand Mole, which we want to see at least one of. This will let us bounce a monster in attacks or battles, and if we have the advantage on monsters already, this will help keep Rai from having the field presence we need. And of course, we have one of the best hand traps, especially of this early game, DD Crow. You could discard this card to banish a card in your opponent's graveyard. If Rai picks something in the graveyard to special summon or shuffle back into the deck, we can flip this card down and prevent him from doing that. The rest of the rares here are pretty decent. Some of them are kind of meh, but overall it's pretty good. Then we go into the super rares, where the only ones that I really care about are the Great Shogun Shien and Dark World Dealings. If we can run into either of these, I will be happy. And then scrolling down into the ultra rares, we see 3 more Elemental Hero fusion monsters with Neos, regarding Air Hummingbird, Grand Mole, and Glowmoss, as well as our new boss monster for Dark World, Rainbow. If it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, it's special summoned, and when it is, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls or spell and traps they control. So it basically acts as a Raigeki or Harpy's Feather Duster if it's brought out, which is pretty strong. And then, Strike of Neos is notable because this is actually the first set that reintroduces the secret rares. Unfortunately, most of them are not really anything we want to see. So Grandmaster of the Six Samurai is probably the only one we'd want to see because it lets us special summon it if we have the Six Samurai on the field, and then if it's destroyed in a card effect, then we get to bring another Six Samurai back to our hand, which is pretty good in general, but overall, not the best here. But we're going to go ahead and get into the packs and see what we can hit. Alright, so 24 packs of Strike of Neos. Let's see what we can hit. First pack, and right from the jump, we have a Grand Mole, which is extremely good to see. And a few good cards here. A Six Samurai came on, a Six Samurai Iru, and a Khaki. That's a pretty good starting pack. Okay, so another good pack here. We have the Six Samurai Uriza, another Iru. We see a Gren, and our first holo, which is Skyscraper 2 Hero City. Admittedly, it's not the greatest of effects. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can target an elemental hero in your graveyard that was destroyed in battle and special summon it. It'd be better if it gave some kind of attack power up like the original Skyscraper, but all in all, it's still not the worst of cards. But definitely glad to see some more of the Six Samurai and a couple of the Gren. Let's see what the next pack's going to provide us. And we see a couple more Six Samurai base cards and a Spiral Serpent, so that's not too bad. Okay, so here's another interesting pack. We have another Six Samurai, another Gren, which is nice, and an Ancient Rules. This is actually kind of interesting. So what this card does is it lets you special summon a level 5 or higher normal monster from your hand. Basically, it goes into the original anime where they were able to summon their monsters without a sacrifice. That can actually be pretty useful for us later down the road. Ooh, that's a good pickup. Dark World Dealings. That's one of the best cards for Dark Worlds. It allows each player to draw a card and then discard a card. So what this means is I could use this to dump a card like Gren or Khaki. So what this reads is each player draws a card and then I get to pop a card, essentially. That's a really good pickup. It's a super rare, so the odds of pulling more than one are very unlikely, but I would absolutely be happy if we pulled another of these. Oh my goodness. Legendary Ebensteed is actually an interesting card as well. It equips to a Six Samurai monster, gives that monster 200 attack and defense, and then it basically gives battle protection where if it would be destroyed in a fight, or honestly, if it would be destroyed in general, you get to destroy the card instead, so that's pretty good. Ooh, another super rare, back-to-back, Gene Warped Warwolf. It's not necessarily something that matters too much for us, but hey, a 2000 attack, 4-star with no downside? Yes, please. Okay, so there's our first advanced ritual art, about halfway through the box. That does concern me slightly for any kind of shenanigans with that later on, but who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and pull the other two soon. Okay, that's an interesting pack. So we have a second Ancient Rules and a second Gene Warped Warwolf. Not gonna lie, I kind of would have preferred to have the second copy of a super rare being that Dark World Dealings, but hey, I'll take another Warwolf. That's pretty nice. And there's another Synthesis spell, and I think that rounds out our playset of those. Other than that, I don't see anything too spectacular here. Okay, so there's our second Advanced Ritual art, and we actually hit an ultra rare Elemental Hero Grand Neos. Now, unfortunately, we're probably not going to make use of this card, given the fact that it still shuffles back at the end of the turn. But the fact that, admittedly though, the fact that it gives you a free bounce is kind of nice. That's a good, I mean, again, it's a good card, it's just, unless we want to go full on into Neo Space, it's not really worth the effort. Still cool though. And a third Gene Warped Warwolf, are you kidding me? Wow, okay, that's, wow, damn, I'm going to have to keep that in mind. Cloak and Dagger is actually not a bad trap card either, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you declare a monster name, and if your opponent summons that monster, you banish it and this card from play. So we can actually chain this to a fusion. To like if Rai decides to summon a monster in order to go into a contact fusion or activate, say, Miracle Fusion, then we can actually flip this up to call the monster and basically get a free banish off on it, which is pretty nice. Okay, so that's another Elemental Hero Glownios. That's another ultra rare. Unfortunately, we're hitting the ultras I don't want to hit, and we're missing out on the one I want to see. But it's still a cool pickup nonetheless. And Twister's actually not too bad either. You could pay 500 life points, and you could target a face-up spell and trap on the field to pop it, which is pretty decent. And given the fact that we don't have a whole lot of back row removal, this might actually make a difference later. Alright, so we're on our last 3 packs, and while I'm pretty happy with most of what we're seeing so far, I am noticing that we actually have not seen a single copy of Six Samurai Zanji, and that's a slight concern. Hopefully we can see one of them. And not in this pack, unfortunately. Another Spiral Serpent, though, so that's kind of nice. Alright, second to last pack. And finally, our first copy of Six Samurai Zanji. Thank God. And a Ultimate Rare Neos Force. What does this even do? Equip only to Neos. It gains 800 attack when it destroys a monster in battle. Oh, God. Okay, so basically it gives it Flame Wingman's effect, but then it shuffles back at the end of the turn. Yeah, that's not the best of effects, honestly. Alright, and last pack. Let's see what we hit. And it looks like we don't really hit anything. Well, that's a bit of a disappointment. But you know what? We still ended up with a decent bit of pull luck, so we'll see what we could come up with. But let's get into the deck edit and see. All right, and here's the deck we're introducing for tonight's duel. And yes, you see it right. We are back on the Dark Worlds. We're going to have a ball with this one. Sure, we didn't get the full support that we were hoping to get, but you know what? That's what wildcards in the future are for. Let's go through the card by card here. First, we have our 3 copies of Beige, Vanguard of Dark World. If we discard it, we get to special summon it, which is nice. 1 copy of Brawn to help facilitate some of our Dark Worlds. 1 Cyber Dragon for an easy monster if we need it. 1 copy of Exile Force in case we have to deal with a problem card right from the jump. 2 copies of gold. I could throw 3, but I feel like 2 is enough for right here. We have 2 copies of Grand Tactician of Dark World and 2 copies of Khaki, Gorilla of Dark World. These guys are going to be there specifically so that way if we get a chance to discard something, this will allow us to pick a specific card to deal with if we need to. 1 copy of Magician of Fate to get back our important spell cards. 1 Mobius the Frost Monarch for back row removal. 1 copy of Neospatian Grand Mole. I have 3, but I feel like 1 is enough for what we're about to do. This will help us if we're ahead on board. We could keep our eye off his monsters and get in some clean hits. 1 copy of Sangan, 2 copies of Silva, 1 copy of Witch of the Black Forest, and 3 copies of Gene Warped Warwolf. Now, admittedly, these guys don't necessarily flow as well with the rest of our cards. However, 2000 vanilla is definitely better than Zur being 1800. And even though Zur would go up to 2300 with our Mystic Plasma Zone, the fact of the matter is we're probably, even then, 2300 isn't enough to deal over most of the big threats, which at that point, 2000 versus 23 doesn't matter. So for our spells, we have 1 copy of Card of Safe Return. This card is probably going to be a huge benefit for us. 1 copy of Confiscation, 1 Dark World Dealings. This is probably the super rare I am happiest to see. 1 copy of Dark World Lightning, 1 Graceful Charity, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Metamorphosis, 2 copies of Mystic Plasma Zone, 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Terraforming, and 1 Forceful Sentry. for our traps, we have 1 Call of the Haunted, 2 Dark Deal, 1 Magic Cylinder, and 2 Sakuretsu Armor. Extra deck is pretty much irrelevant unless we manage to metamorphosis our Magician of Faith into Thousand Eyes. Beyond that, it doesn't really matter for anything. And then for our side, we're going under the assumption that Rai is going to be either back on the heroes again, or he might go into the 6 Samurai, depending on how things work. So, just to hedge our bets in that regard, we have 1 Cypher Soldier. This will help give us a huge power-up if we're going to be dealing with warriors. 1 DD Warrior Lady. 2 Fusion Devourer. I actually didn't pay attention to this card during pulls, but reading into it, it's actually a really good card. If this card battles a fusion monster, then during the damage step, that fusion monster's attack power becomes 0. Meaning that this thing can basically clear out any of the big hero fusions all on its own. And even if he attacks it in defense mode, then it basically just means that he's going to take 1200 points of damage, and then next turn we could eat the monster afterwards. And then 2 copies of Puppet Plant. This was another card introduced in this set. You could discard it and target a warrior or spellcaster monster your opponent controls, and you take control of it until the end of the turn. We could dump this during our turn to get a monster and essentially change of heart, or we could dump it during his turn and stop him from attacking us for a turn. Now, so yeah, there are actually a couple other cards that have a similar effect to this with different types. I believe it was Marionette Might goes for Fiends and Zombies, so we might actually have to keep that in mind as a safety measure. And then they have one for Electric Virus, which works for Machine and Dragon types, I want to say. So honestly, those might be a fun little couple cards to have in the back pocket for in case we need it. 1 Book of Moon, 1 Dark Hole. Admittedly, I'm considering bringing Dark Hole to the forefront because we're short on mass removal. But I feel like for right now, we're okay with that. 1 copy of Enemy Controller, 1 Swords of Revealing Light, 3 Negate Attack, 1 Ring of Destruction, and 1 Waboku. So, I think we actually have a fairly solid deck here, and I feel like we have a good chance of dealing with this, as long as he's not playing some immense crazy shit. So, let's see what we can do, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to duel. Yeah, this is definitely... I want to say this is probably the best set since then, just because... I mean, if nothing else, we have options, and viable options at that.
And I'm sure there's an archetype that you were probably foaming over in pack opening.
Oh, whatever would you mean? Alright, let's see what we hit. Ooh, okay. Damn.
There, finally I want to roll. Very important. I will take the play. Good luck, duelists.
Good luck.
Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main.
Well, I can safely say right off the bat, it feels a lot smoother on this new computer, so that's nice.
I am going to set a pair and pass.
Alright. So, draw. Standby, main. I guess we'll just start by running out a Gene Warped Warwolf.
Ah, so you did get one.
Yep.
That card is pretty good.
It is pretty good. Like, I mean, it's not the best, but hey, 2K on a 4-star with no drawback is pretty damn important here.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Speaking of 2K, how about you take 2 stacks?
Ooh, that's Koala.
That's a little blast from the past.
That is. Okay. I think I'll go ahead and set a couple of cards then. Play around the Imperm column.
What Imperm column? Draw for turn. Stand by.
That joke never gets old.
This is going to give away what I'm going to do, and what I'm doing today. I'm going to activate Meteor of Destruction.
Oh, God. Okay. So
Take 1,000. Then I am going to set a pair and pass the turn.
I swear to God, if you're on,
Thunder during your standby.
oh my God, you're on fucking chain burn. Okay.
You weren't expecting this. It was going to get limited. Like Chain Strike gets limited after this set. So this exact format that we are playing, this was around for exactly 1 day, the release day of Strike of Neos. Because as soon as Strike of Neos dropped, there was a new FNL update. The very next day.
Wait, really? I thought the next update was in March.
Yes, Strike of Neos was released in February. February 28th.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was the very end of February. I misread that date. Whoops.
Yeah, it was the very next day.
Okay. Jeez, what do I do here? Is there anything I can do is the real question.
So just be happy that with the removal of Secret Barrel from the format and Chain Strike going to 1 after this duel, this deck is very much unplayable afterward.
Right. Well, I guess I'll just run out a second copy of Warwolf.
Wow!
And I'll pass.
Alright, draw for turn. Standby, main. I'm gonna go ahead and flip Cyberjar.
Oh, God. Okay. That bites, but...
Not bad. You got 3 Warwolves? Holy poo-poo.
Yep. So...
Wow, that's really good.
Okay, so let's see. Threatening... Chain Deton, Thunder Overruler, Stealth, Bird, and Reckless Greed.
Don't mind me, I'll just put all this stuff in my hand.
Alright. Well... I guess I will set that my Moth, and I'll summon out my Beige and Warwolf.
Sure. Well, before this Dark Deal becomes live, I'm actually going to go ahead and fire off this Tremendous Fire.
Yuck. Okay.
That I pulled out of Dark Beginning 2. I did not get a single copy of this card out of Metal Raiders.
Oh, wow, really? Wasn't it
Yeah.
a rare?
It's a common!
Oh, shit. Okay, that's even worse than I thought.
Alright, then I am going to... set 4 and pass.
Ugh, God.
Go.
Alright, draw. Standby. I'm assuming you've got something.
Nothing in standby.
Alright, main. Alright, well, let's see what you've got going. Let's see what else you've got in your hand.
Sure. Do you want the Stealth Bird or do you want the Fog?
Let's go with the Stealth Bird.
Sure. I will put this away.
I mean, granted, I can just take I could take the other two, so...
Yeah, you're just gonna get the other card out, that's fine. Sure. That's Thunder Ruler, since you know it's in my hand.
So... the question I have now... well, it doesn't actually help me if I do that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Heavy Storm.
I am going to just chain my entire back row. We're gonna start with a Ring of Destruction targeting your Gene Warp Werewolf. Do you have a response?
I do not.
I'm going to chain Reckless Greed. Do you have a response?
I do not.
I'm going to chain accumulated fortune. Do you have a response?
I do not.
I'm going to chain detonation. Do you have a response?
I do not.
I'm going to chain threatening roar. Do you have a response?
I do not.
Okay, so chain resolves. Chain link 6, threatening roar. Chain link 5 is chain detonation, so you'll take 500 and I'll put this in my hand. Then this will resolve.
So you draw 2.
So I draw 2. Then Reckless Greed resolves. I will draw 2. Then the Ring resolves. Your Gene Warp Werewolf will be destroyed. We'll each take 2,000.
God damn.
And then Heavy Storm resolves. Nice sack!
Oh, man. Okay, God, this is gonna... This is miserable.
Which is why I'm only going to be playing this deck once.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna sack my Moth for my gold.
Sure, you have gold.
I have a sneaking suspicion that's going to be another... Well, no, I know that's Stealth Bird.
Yeah,
What am
you
I
know
doing?
that's Stealth Bird.
Alright, let's eat the bird. Oh, wait, I can't.
Roar.
Oh,
You
right,
cannot
I
attack.
can't. God damn it.
Yeah, you cannot attack.
Shit. Alright, I'll pass.
Draw for... I don't get to draw, so stand by main. I am going to go ahead and flip up the bird.
Alright, so that's 1,000 I take.
Set it. Then I'm going to set a monster and then set 3. Then I will pass the turn.
And chain detonation.
I have Thunder of Ruler in standby. I also
Alright.
have Chain Detonation, yes.
Yep, okay. That did not work out as I thought.
I was wondering if one of us were going to play this deck, and... At least we didn't play a mirror match.
Yeah, that would have been even more... Honestly, that would have been some serious head games, too, because then it's a case of, okay, does he have Reckless to chain to my Reckless and fuck up the chain?
Or just duplicates of anything, but game 2.
Yeah, game 2. Alright, let's see. Standby main. I'm going to start by setting a monster and passing.
Draw for turn, a standby main, and I'm sure this doesn't help you either.
I'm not surprised. Go ahead.
I'll draw a couple. Then I am going to... I'm just gonna set 5.
Okay.
Go!
Draw.
I'm not playing Eldritch, I swear.
God, I hate to do this, but I feel like I kind of have to at this point. All right, let's force it out. Let's Heavy Storm.
Well, this isn't ideal. We'll go... Chainlink 2, Just Desserts. I'm sure you don't have anything for this, but I have to ask.
No, no response.
Chainlink 3, Reckless Greed.
All right, no response.
Chainlink 4, Accumulated Fortune.
No response.
Chainlink 5, a 2k Chain Strike.
No response.
So you're going to take a total of... No, I have no further response. This will resolve. So you're going to take a total of 2,500, and I'm going to draw 4.
All right.
And my other set was Ring.
Okay.
So no Fog, at least.
I'm gonna flip my Sangan,
Sure.
and I'm going to run out my Neospatian Grand Mole,
Ah, so you do have the Troll Mole.
and we'll hit for 19.
I'll take it all.
Main phase 2, I will set a card, and I will pass.
Draw for turn.
No, you cannot actually. Reckless greed.
Right. I forgot to turn off auto draw. Hang on.
No problem.
Let me turn this back.
That's like the one big downside to playing Reckless Greed is that it makes us have to remember to change something that we never have to do.
To turn off auto draw, yeah. Anyway, standby main. And I did make sure to turn it off this time. I am going to set to, and I will pass.
Alright. Draw.
Thunder of Ruler during standby.
Okay. Main phase. Oh, God. Do I really want to do this? Well, you are stuck without another draw for a turn. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I think the 1,000 life points will be worth it. I'm going to activate Confiscation.
Well, you're not going to like my hand too much.
Let's see. Oh my good goddamn. Yeah, that's...
Nice Dark Worlds!
Oh, fuck. Let's clear out the Waboku.
Yup, that's fine.
That's a problem. That's
so, we're
actually a real problem.
Hand traps in 2007.
Alright, I'm gonna sack my Sangan for a gold.
Gold is fine.
Get my Sangan off.
Okay, you can search with Sangan.
God, the question is, what do I really want to get with it? See, the worst part is knowing you have 2 DD Crow, so that just makes it so much worse. I think I'm gonna add Exile Force to my hand.
That makes sense.
Just on the off chance I need it for something. Alright. Battle, I will...
You will not be going to the battle phase, sir.
Oh, right. God, I keep forgetting that damn card. Okay, your turn.
Alright, second turn on Reckless. Standby main. I have a camel.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Okay. Fucking noobs.
I'll set one and pass.
Okay, so you had 2 DD Crow. Crap, it was 2 DD Crow.
The other card in my hand is okay. So I had in my hand it was Waboku double DD Crow Sangan. So the card that I have set is unknown.
Right. Okay. Draw.
But you are about to find out what it is.
Oh God.
Yeah, I peeled a fog.
Of course you did.
Grand Mole is a problem, though.
Well, God, I hate to do this. I hate to do this on a goddamn camel of all things, but let's Exile Force it.
You have to, yeah. You have to.
I don't have much of a choice.
Otherwise, I'm going to start drawing 2 a turn, and it's going to get ugly.
I was going to say, it's already ugly enough as it is. The only good thing... The only good thing is knowing that the only thing you have in your hand right now that I could potentially worry about is going to be Sangan, and even then, that's not as bad.
What's the downside here? I gotta do some math. 32... Like, there's so many things. That mole is a problem. Why is Grand Mole so good? Alright, I think this is my best bet. I'm gonna run out Sangan.
Alright.
I'm gonna go to battle.
Alright.
I'm gonna hit into your gold.
Oh, okay.
I'll take 13, because I'm never gonna be able to proc this because of Grand Mole.
True.
So I'm gonna go ahead and grab myself a Cyber Jar, And just ship the turn and hope I don't die.
Alright. Draw. Standby main.
But I think just about any normal summon gets there. Well, not any, but
Well,
you need 1600.
I have a werewolf.
Yep.
Alright. I'm actually surprised I got out of that one.
Well, you got out of one game.
Yep.
I'm very surprised that this set of all things is going to a decider.
This was a... Yeah, this was absolutely not what I was expecting for this match, but...
Oh, off the top.
Oh, goddamn. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Off the top. Alright, let's go ahead and set a monster, and then... set 4. Pass.
Good God. Alright, I draw, standby phase, anything?
Nothing in standby.
Alright, main phase. God, I'm almost terrified. Okay, I'll start by activating terraforming.
Sure.
Let's get ourselves a Mystic Plasma Zone.
Yeah, that makes things large.
I'll activate Mystic Plasma Zone.
Sure, you got it.
I'll activate Card of Safe Return.
Yup.
And I will activate Graceful Charity, which I picked off the top.
Yeah, that seems good.
Draw 3. And I get to discard 2. So, if you've got crows, you've got crows, but I'm going to discard 2 copies of beige.
Okay, so those will go on chain. Then chain link 3, I'm going to crow one of them.
Alright.
Chain link 4, I'm going to activate chain detonation.
Okay.
I have no further effects.
Alright, so I take 500 points.
This will go back to my hand.
I lose 1 beige.
The other will get summoned,
And
then new chain, card of safe return, you'll get to draw a card.
Yep. Oh, of course I draw that. God, the question is now, what the hell is that other card gonna be? Well... let's be a little safer with this. I'm gonna run out a DD Warrior Lady.
You got it.
Enter battle phase.
That's frustrating. Sure.
Alright. Warrior Lady into your defense.
I'm gonna Waboku.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you banish this.
Yeah. The nice thing too is the fact that Mystic Plasma Zone actually kept me safe on that one.
That's why I Waboku'd.
Alright, main phase 2. I think I'll just let it go.
Draw for turn, standby, main. I am going to set 2 and pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby.
Nothing in standby.
Main phase. Come on, there we go. I'm going to run out a Gene Warped Warwolf.
Thankfully, it does not get pumped by Mystic Plasma Zone.
Enter battle.
Sure.
Alright. Warwolf in for 2.
I'll take it all.
Alright. Main 2, I will set a card, and I will pass the turn.
Draw for turn, standby, main. I am going to set a monster, and I will pass.
Alright. Draw.
Thunder and standby.
Okay. Main 1. I will set one card. I'm going to send Plasma Zone to the graveyard to activate another.
Interesting. Oh, right. You're trying to get cards out of your hand for Koala. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Draw for turn. Standby main. I do have the jar.
All right.
Unfortunately, I have to set the crow.
Oh.
I don't get to keep that in my hand.
Let's see.
But
So
these are pretty good cards.
Koala, Crow, Frozen Soul, accumulated chain detonation.
That's not bad.
All right.
So book, Confi, lightning, brawn, and beige, huh? Sure.
All right. I will special summon them both in attack.
You know what I should do? I should actually.
I was gonna say if you want to shuffle them, you can.
Sure. Let me do that real quick.
Unfortunately for me, card a safe return only works when a monster is special summoned from my graveyard.
Correct. And then I'll put these cards in my hand.
The tough part, the thing is, I have a way to remove that damn koala. The problem I have is now I don't know which one it's gonna be.
Yep. Boop, 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 boo. Figuring out what I want to do here. Problem is my zones are a little clogged right now. I think we do this. Set 2 and pass.
Alright. Draw. Standby.
During standby, I am gonna play a bunch of stuff. Thunder of Ruler. Anything?
Nope.
Chain detonation.
Alright, no response.
I will chain reckless.
Alright, no response.
Accumulated fortune.
No response.
And chain strike for 2,000.
Okay.
So you'll take 2,500. I'll draw 4.
Alright.
And then there's no battle phase. And then I will turn auto draw off. Now you can proceed.
Okay.
Well, you'll get a 7-card hand for Confi if you want to pay 1,000 for it. Oh, that's kind of risky, but
It's a bit risky, but at the same time, I have to try for it.
you're not gonna like my hand.
Ooh, goodness. Well, the good thing is the Frozen Souls actually are kind of dead right now, because your life points are only 100 lower than mine.
They are, but
So that's a positive. So that means if I can get through, I can push for game.
you also don't have a battle phase.
True. I feel like I have to go for the Lacuna. I have to keep you from drawing cards while you can, and that's the only way you could draw cards during these next 2 turns anyway.
That makes sense.
Then I'm going to...
Also, this chain detonation should not be in my graveyard.
Oh,
This was
right.
activated as Chain Link 3, so this should be in my deck.
Right. Okay. Alright, I'm going to activate Dark World Lightning. I'm going to target this one to destroy.
Well, you got it.
Good. And I'm going to discard Kaki, Gorilla of Dark World, which will
That'll get
activate his effect and pop that one.
Yep, that'll get the crow. So
Then-
you're getting both of them regardless.
Right. Let's see. I'm gonna set a card, and I will pass the turn.
Draw for, or I don't draw. Stand by main. I am going to kill the beige.
I'm going to respond with Dark Deal,
That's not good.
and I'll shuffle my hand. Go ahead and make your roll.
That one.
You poor son of a bitch.
Well, you get it.
Unfortunately, I don't get... Unfortunately, you have nothing for me to pop, but I at least get him on the field. Oh, and I actually get to draw a card, too, because he was in the
You
graveyard.
do, yeah, you do.
Forgot about that.
I'm just gonna set all the things. Go.
Alright, draw, standby, main. Okay, so let me try to remember. You've got Accumulated Fortune, Frozen Soul, and Chain Detonation. So that means the only thing you could... So if 2 Frozen Soul, a Detonation, and a Fortune. So... I think I actually have game here. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? Just... As much as I don't... I really want to play one card to hedge my bet, but at the same time, I also have a feeling that if I do that, then you might have something that I messed up on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sacrifice beige to run out my Silva.
Sure.
Alright, I'm going to go into battle. So you have Stealth Bird. So that means Bronze should be able to clear that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
56.
Yeah, you got
correct?
it. You got it.
The other card in my hand at the time was Heavy Storm. So I was like, maybe he might maybe he might have something else that I'm not remembering correctly. And if he chains up to the Accumulated Fortune, then that potentially puts me at risk. But
Boy, I just could not quite get there.
dude, I'm honestly shocked as hell that I came back and won that, because real talk, I had nothing in my side deck to deal with this deck. I had nothing. I straight up sided expecting you to run either 6 Samurai or the Heroes again. So I had a side deck heavily built for that. And as soon as you flipped up this Koala, I was like, oh, I've got nothing for this.
So the way I built my side deck was I built my main deck to try to beat Hero. And then because Hero doesn't have a ton of interaction for this deck outside of Our Righteous Justice, which I can chain most of my stuff to anyway. And then I had a sideboard plan for this deck. I had one for 6 Sam. I had one for the Smashing Grounds actually came in because I thought you would be on Wombat.
Fair.
So, how are your Strike of Neos pulls?
Honestly, they were kind of decent, but not amazing. Like, I don't remember if you saw this, but I hit a Dark World Dealings. I hit the 3 Warwolf. Oh, good lord. Okay, you told me about the 3 Air Neos, but damn, 2 Grand Neos and a Glow Neos. See, I got 1 Grand Neos and 1 Glow Neos, and then I ended up with one of the Skyscraper 2 Hero City, and that was pretty much it. Like, I hit 7 hollows altogether, not counting the ultimate rares that were rares, but I mean, it was okay, but definitely wasn't as explosive as I would have liked.
I figured there would be a good chance you were on Dark World because there was a lot of new Dark World support, so I came prepared for that with the DD Crows. Yeah, I got 3 DD Crows. One of them was an ulti.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, unfortunately for me, I did not pull a single one.
One of the Grand Neos was ulti. One of the Air Neos was ulti too.
Man, imagine if that were real life. You'd have a you'd have a damn mint on your hand for that.
Little bit. So this isn't so out of all the stuff. See, the big problem with me playing this deck is I did not have playsets of every fog. Back in Flaming Eternity, I only opened 2 Threatening Roars.
Oh, yeah, that's a slight hassle then.
That's why I was on the Frozen Souls specifically, is because I needed enough fogs, and it's the worst fog in the deck, and I just drew it too late.
Right.
But that's not the real reason that I was on this deck, and I was really hoping to spring this on you just by complete surprise, but I never had an opportunity to do so. But there was a very silly card that I picked up in Dark Beginning 2 that influenced my decision to play this deck.
Oh? Oh my fucking god, you got it this time!
Yup.
Oh man, I love this card. Like, it's so bullshit, but I love it.
In this deck in particular, it's if you have this in a fog, it's just a draw 5 that recycles everything. What more can you ask for in a deck like this?
Oh, definitely. That's, oh man, that's gonna be something to really pay attention to and worry about now.
I never saw this card. All three games, I wanted to get Cyberjar instead because I didn't have enough resources to shuffle back. And I also didn't want to give you a whole new hand either. Whereas the Cyberjar kind of forces you to commit, and I can use the cards first.
Right.
But this is effectively Cyberjar number 2 since I don't have Morphing Jar. But this is the primary reason why I decided to play this deck is because I got this card, and I would not be terribly surprised if this card were not in our format for very long.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, we didn't see it here, but there is definitely a good chance that this may end up a pain in the ass to the point of getting banned later down the road.
But
good games, though. Like, that ended up definitely a lot tighter of a match than I thought it would be.
I had 1,300 points of burn. I just could not get there.
Right.
If you had attacked in a different order, I could have used poison to actually have enough life points to survive, but it didn't matter because I still had one more turn of Reckless, unfortunately. Another reason why I chose to play this deck is because Reckless got semi-limited.
Right.
With this list.
But I'm pretty sure sometime soon I think it goes back to 3 at some point soon, doesn't it?
It does, but with Chain Strike at 1, we're not going to be able to play this deck again until we get something like... See, what really makes this deck go is stuff like Card of Demise.
Yeah, true, because then you can actually get, like, you could get cards back, and then there are ways to pull back Chain Strike afterwards, too.
Yeah, Card of Demise really makes this deck go, and then just the other pot cards in general, but we won't have easy access to those, so I don't think you're going to be seeing this deck again anytime soon. Especially with Chain Strike being at 1 for almost the rest of time. Right. It gets put to 2 a couple of times, but then just immediately gets put back to 1.
Yeah, because Konami figures out, oh, hey, this anti-meta strat still works with 2 copies, we can't allow that.
I don't even know so much if this is anti-meta. I was a little bit torn when I built the deck about whether I wanted to go for just fogs or also try to play a few continuous floodgates, but clogging up zones is a big issue for this deck. Even having one zone occupied by a floodgate is a big issue.
Right.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and head over to the loser circle again.
Well, let's be honest. Then with the next set, because the next set's what? Is it Force of the Breaker?
It is Force of the Breaker, yes.
That one might end up making a difference depending on what we end up hitting. So, never know.
Yep. Well, we'll see how things go.
Yep. Alright, well that was a very hard-fought win, and I'm honestly shocked that we won that. But we're on to the prizes, and we actually have 2 prizes at hand here. Well, 3 technically. First, we do get to spin the winner's wheel twice, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but one of the additional prizes we had available is actually the McDonald's promotional cards too. So for those of you who don't remember, quite a while ago, we opened up a bunch of packs of the McDonald's promotional cards. Basically, McDonald's had a promotion where they gave you packs of 2 Yu-Gi-Oh cards with every Happy Meal. And most of the cards in there were honestly kind of crappy. Then they did a second promotion in December of 2006 through to pretty much early 2007. And again, most of the cards are actually kind of garbage. There's only 20 cards in here, and you get 3 cards per pack. So, since we won, we get to open 10 packs of this, and Rai lost, so he will get to open 5 packs of this on top of our prizes. Now, the only cards that we really want to see is going to be in the rare slot, which are not guaranteed, but Elemental Hero Electrum is basically like the only good one, quote-unquote. It is known for being part of an OTK, but we're never going to be able to play that strategy. But it is a powerhouse monster, so if we can actually get power from this, if we can actually pull this card, that'd be kind of nice. Mudball Man is another hero fusion that's kind of interesting, but basically it's just a giant 3k defender. It's really not all that special. And honestly, that's pretty much all they have to it. So we're going to just flip the 10 packs and see what we've got here. Flipping. So, Zone Eater, Moon Envoy, Meteor Dragon, Aqua Dragon, Moon Envoy again. Ooh, we actually hit a Mist Body. That's kind of neat. When it equips to a monster, that monster can't be destroyed in battle. That actually might make a difference later, but I think we've already got a few of those from a different pack. A lot of these cards... Oh! Ooh! Electrum! Electrum! We actually got one. Sweet. Sweet, sweet. Okay. That's pretty much like the only thing out of this pack we cared about. But you know what? We're good with that. Let's see what else we can hit. Flame Viper. See, I'm actually remembering a few of these creatures because of Capsule Monster Coliseum, so that's kind of neat. Ooh, Flute of Summoning Karibo's kind of neat. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do a lot to help us, though. Metal Guardian's kind of cool. Dungeon Worm, I remember that from anime, that's kind of neat. And, okay, so yeah, pretty much nothing of spectacular value aside from Electrum. But, goddamn, the fact that we actually pulled that is insane. And now we're on to the next part. Alright, so now that we got our little pack spree out of our system, now we get to spin the wildcard wheel. And we're going to get to spin it twice, so... Honestly, almost any rarity out of this would be good. As crazy as it is, I'm kind of hoping we hit rare just so that way we could hit a DD Crow, because we need at least one of those for later. But let's see what we can hit for the first spin. Damn, that could have been interesting. But... common card. Okay. Let me quickly take a look at what we need and see what we go from. Okay, so for our common wildcard, we've decided to go with a copy of Dark World Lightning. The reason for this is because, first off, we can only go back as far as the Lost Millennium, and unfortunately, that's the point where the sets have gotten short enough to where pretty much we have almost all of the commons in playsets. However, Dark World Lightning is one of the few cards that we don't have a playset of, and honestly, we kind of would like more of. Especially because we not only could get more destruction this way, but on top of that, Rai has told us multiple times that Graceful Charity is going to be on the chopping block, unless he pulls one himself. And because of that, we want to make sure Dark Worlds still have discard options, and this will allow us to not only pop a card, but also discard a card if we get to pop that card, and that'll be kind of helpful for us. So on top of that, that's going to be our choice. So we're going to go for our second spin, and honestly I'm hoping we hit anything but the common. We do have another option for common card if we need to, but I'm hoping we hit something else. Fuck, okay. Well, you know what? I guess we're going to go with the third copy of Dark World Lightning then, because if nothing else, that allows us to have 3 of those, and that's more removal. So you know what? We'll go with that. So, with that being said, everyone, this was an exciting episode, and we will catch you guys next week with Force of the Breaker. We'll have a good one. Have a good night.